Money is one thing that everyone strives for. Many people think that if you have money, you have everything, and sure, it could get you a house, a nice car, food, but money surely isn't everything. With so much changing in this climate, the value of money is sure to change as well. But how will this change everything else? What effects will this have on us and society? In today's video, we're going to talk about the question, is money becoming worthless? Let's dive into the video. Number 1, we have negative interest rates. This is happening in the world right now. Sure, this has happened before, but this time it appears to be worse. A negative interest rate is when you put money in the bank, and when you go to take it out, there appears to be less, sometimes a lot less. Usually, the bank will add interest for you keeping the money in, but this appears to be reversing. If money seems to be disappearing, this could lead to it eventually being worthless. Definitely something to keep track of. Number 2, a lot of countries are in a ridiculous amount of debt. Debt has happened a lot in the past, especially due to wars and reparations needing to be paid, but a lot of countries are in a lot of debt, and I just don't mean a few $1,000s. The world is actually $277 trillion in debt. That's around 365% of the world's GDP. Who does the world owe money to? The truth is, countries often owe a lot of money to other countries, to population, or to big businesses and industries. A lot of services are being delivered by people that the government never actually pays, leaving them in debt. This definitely has some power to steer the future of money and its worth. And if things can't be repaid in money, how can they be paid? Will money lose its worth in the process? Revenues were also hit hard during the global health situation, and the relief measures have increased global debt by around 20 trillion. Yikes! Number 3, it's no longer backed by anything. Up until 1971, no country was allowed to print more money than they could match with their gold reserves, in an attempt to keep everyone honest. Then Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, and things changed. This all happened because the US and the military card, and really, nobody could disagree. Ever since the US had become the international reserve currency, even to this day, most countries have the US dollar in the treasury, same as many countries did with gold before. This decision really favors the US because it allows them to print as much money as they want with little consequence. However, this really makes us question the worth of money and whether it will stay as valuable in the coming years and centuries. Number 4, countries just keep printing more and more money every day. If you ever played Sims 2, you know that you could print your own money for a while until you got arrested. That's kind of what happens today. It might be hard to believe, but in 2020, 22% of all US dollars in circulation were printed, but that still doesn't stop them. They're about to drop another $1.9 trillion, essentially out of thin air, in 2021. Once they do, they will have increased the US dollar supply by 40%. How is this allowed and how it does not have any consequences? One thing's for sure, it will start to have consequences if this keeps happening. Number 5, you're being forced into inflated assets. Many people just want their savings somewhere safe, as banks are possibly not the most reliable. A lot of people have put their savings into real estate, but the real estate industry has been hyperinflated as well. Many houses and apartments have skyrocketed in price since as little as 5 years ago, so you're paying way more than you normally would, and possibly way more than it's even worth in the first place. With the global health situation hitting, many big businesses have realized they don't need huge buildings to host all their employees, and this could take a huge hit on real estate. Although many people still want to buy houses, the need for huge skyscrapers may no longer be a huge demand in coming years, and this will also change where people will invest their money in the future. Beware of where you invest. Number 6, the government is simply giving it away to buy time. The US government, as well as many other countries in the world, is giving away money for free. This may not sound true at all, but it is. A lot of governments send citizens or other countries money to buy time. That is all it is, buying a few more months before the crisis hits. With all the money not getting paid back and just being printed out of thin air, this does not give a promising future to the worth of money unless things really turn around. And there needs to be a pretty big change before they do. You can't just give away money and not expect hyperinflation to hit you hard. Many countries tried printing money to make them wealthier, such as Romania or Zimbabwe, and this did not work at all. Number 7, money today is just numbers on a screen. Many countries are of course still printing money, but in this day and age, a lot of money is just digital. For example, where you spend money from your bank account, through your card or online, money doesn't physically leave your account and go to another. Rather, it's just a transfer of numbers. The bank will also charge a fee for this themselves, hence even more transfers of money. You essentially get charged a lot of money for numbers to be transferred digitally on a screen. Now that everyone knows this, will money be really worth as much in the future? Who knows? Money almost doesn't seem real at this point. Number 8, hedge funds and traders are abusing the system. Many of these financial institutions are abusing the system, as hedge funds and traders do not actually bring any value to society, really. They don't create value, yet most are incredibly rich. What hedge funds do is use the system to transfer imaginary money from one column to another and keep a portion for themselves. You're even allowed to sell things that you don't own for personal profit. That is really harming the system and almost makes money feel even more worthless, because it's not a proper exchange of goods. Not ideal.
Not work at all. What would you do?
Number 9. Universal Basic Income. Universal Basic Income is seen as a solution to all problems for government, but the system will truly collapse if you allow the majority to vote itself a higher pay. Often the government cannot support this, and this will lead to a collapse of the system, making money completely worthless. UBI should definitely be a priority, and the whole system is a lot more complex than this. However, it is difficult for governments to keep raising the UBI, especially when they're in a lot of debt and cannot actually support the scheme. Because of this, money could eventually become worthless and have no value.
Bitcoin is a digital currency which aims to do away with all the problems we have paying for things online.
Number 10. Bitcoin is a superior alternative. A lot of smart companies right now are looking at their balance sheets and moving money from US dollars into Bitcoin. This is essentially a direct move from the past to the future, happening right now in 2021. Tesla announced that it moved around $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, and many other big companies are following in Tesla's footsteps. Also, Tesla made more holding Bitcoin for 1 month than they did selling cars since they started. That's crazy. Many companies are forced to switch to cryptocurrency to avoid inflation that the governments are bringing upon the market. So it actually makes a lot of sense that many would start switching to Bitcoin, because financially, this is a much smarter move. The dollar is also losing purchasing power every day, so especially US companies have to move fast if they want to keep all their finances looking okay in the future. And Bitcoin was created to be a separate currency outside of the federal service. The price of Bitcoin actually hasn't gone up, making it more sustainable and easier to gauge. MasterCard is also opening up their services to cryptocurrency, meaning that we are possibly on the road to a new financial system, but change is definitely inevitable to make the financial system better. At the moment, we're kind of going down a hole.
The world's first stock market. Since then, companies have been collecting funds from willing investors to support all kinds of businesses.
Number 11. Stock market is no longer correlated to the economy. The stock market is no longer a reflection of the economy. In fact, when the economy was entering a shutdown due to the global health situation, the stock market rose to all-time highs. It was booming during this time. Many traditional terms in finances like retirement are more about the funds you have. If you don't have the funds when you're older, nobody's going to take care of you. This is the harsh but true reality of the world. And investing in stocks is a great way for people to make money and ensure they can fend for themselves, as there is little help from the government. And finally, number 12. The rich are setting the price. Sure, this has always been the case, but now even more than ever, as the rich are earning so much more than rich people did 100 years ago, or even 20 years ago, we live in a seller's market, and everything that's up for sale is currently owned by the rich. One advantage of being in a seller's market is that you set the price and the market needs to find the funds to pay for it. It doesn't matter how much you're asking for, people who can afford it will buy it, and those who can't afford it will just have to step aside. However, this is why prices are going through the roof. Prices of many things are becoming sky high, and only a few can afford it, but this means the seller still makes money. Hence, this keeps continuing. Be prepared for this. There will be a point when the system has to change. However, and concerning the climate, this could be coming very soon. That concludes today's list of money becoming worthless. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more content like this, please be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Turn on post notifications to be the first to hear about my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.